Hi, this is Richard with .org WebWorks, and today we're going to learn how to work with widgets. Now, if you're at the dashboard like I am, we're going to go over here and bounce on over to Appearance and Widgets. Now, we're working with the WordPress version 3.8 at this time, and the difference between 3.8 and all previous versions is the layout of the widget panels has split up into 4 columns. It used to be just 2. All your widgets were here, and then all of your so-called sidebars were here. But now they're spread out into 2 rows of each. And essentially that's the big difference between 3.8 and previous versions. Now, to understand widgets, what they are is what gives your website that all the little functions and placements that we enjoy. Let's take a peek at the WordPress site. Let's go to home page. I'm going to refresh this to make sure we're looking at the most recent view. Okay. Now, when we say sidebar, or at least when WordPress says sidebar, they mean any item, any location. It used to be back in the old days when WordPress was a simple blog. A sidebar would have been this here on the side. Could have been on the left or on the right, but generally it was just one narrow sidebar. But WordPress has matured over the years, and there are now sidebars everywhere. Here, 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 and basically any spot you can make a sidebar. Down here, these footers, these are sidebars. Below the footer, these are sidebars. This here is your main content area for your home page. Okay. Now, aside from your home page, you also have 2 other primary areas. You have your blog area. Whenever you click a blog item, you will have your post right here, your blog post. And then it has its own sidebar. It's a little bit more specific to just the blog. But if we went to About Us, the About Us also has a sidebar right here. And it looks just like the post in the way of width and all that. But they are using a different kind of work area. So we get different stuff there. Okay. So let's go back to the dashboard. Okay. And to the back to the widget area. If you find a widget that you would like to work with that's not available right now in your personal menu, all you do is you go over to the plugins area, and then you go search for that particular plugin. And once that plugin is in here and activated, it automatically installs it into your widget area. So a widget is simply the function of the plugin, which you will get. So what you see here, background manager, royal slider, revision control, all these kind of plugins then become apparent in your widget area right here. And then when you're ready, what you'll do is you'll take an area. Let's take home column A. Let's take a look at home column A. And what we have here in home column A, there's B and C, but A, just a little bit of text. Okay, and there's a little subtitle, column A. Take a look at it, column A, home column A. And because it says home column A, it is specific to the home page only, specific only to that column. Not going to go anywhere else. So whatever we do here will only go to that one specific area. We have a text widget, and that is this item here. If I was to drag this over right underneath, we'd have another text item. Okay, right now it is blank. Let's get rid of it. Okay, let's go back up. But we have something there now. It says column A, which is your title. And we have identified that through some style sheets that are separate from all this in a way of how it looks. But basically, when you look here and you see column A, it's because of right here. And when you see the text within column A down here, it is this content here. And down here, what we have is widget logic. Okay, and what widget logic is, it's a filter. And for some areas, for example, the main sidebar and post sidebar area, we would have to use widget logic so that we can narrow that content onto very specific areas of the website. But again, since this particular widget is only for that home, then we don't have to do anything with widget logic. Okay, now let's say, for example, let's look back at home column A. We say we'd like to dress column A up a little bit. Right now, when we look at it, it's kind of boring. Let's put something underneath there. Let's put a search. So I'm just going to drag search right underneath column A. Now, if I wanted to, I could put the search above or below. I could put a title within that, which would just basically is search. I'm going to save it. Okay. And widget, again, with the widget logic, it's not going to go anywhere but that particular location, so we'll ignore that. Okay. So now we have two items. Now I might want to say, you know what, I'm going to put search on top of column A or below it. So right now, I'll keep it below. We go back to the home, refresh, and it'll say this is the search. Okay. And the reason why it's showing a black band is the same, because the same thing. We had put a title. So it's going to pick up all the creative elements of that title. If we delete that and save it, refresh, no black band, but we do have the search. So we have column A and search. Good. Okay. Look at some other possibilities here. One that's, that you'll find you'll have to do quite often is if you're working with little sub-menus. Now, if we take the main sidebar, and main sidebars are for your pages, at least primarily for your pages, they'll exclude post. So if I go back to home, and I go back to an About Us, which is a page, we're going to see two things. We're going to see a search and a little sub-menu here. This sub-menu was created through the menus part of your dashboard. But when we go here to widgets, and we see the custom menu, we now know that that's how it got there. Okay? Now, in the custom menu widget, which I was able to pull from over here, left-hand side, I just dragged it over. It opened up and it showed me, I got two opportunities. One is to show the main menu or the About Us menu. Well, this is going to go on the About Us only pages, so I chose About Us. Now, how do we keep this menu from staying only on the About Us pages? Well, we do that through what's called widget logic. Now, it's basically you would copy and paste this content into this area, and it says is page, and then it shows an array. These numbers are all you need to worry about. Number 38, 39, 16, 37, 137. These are your page identification. So if I was to go to About Us, let's go to the dashboard. If we go to Pages, the Pages menu, and open that up, you see About Us, your board of directors, your bios, contact us, and sitemap. This is all part of the About Us family. Over here on the right-hand side is an ID. Your ID 39, 137, 147 for bios, number 60, number 38, and that's it, up to 38. All these, with the exception of 147, are represented here. 38, 39, 61, 39. So if we put 147 even, 47, save it, then the bios will now be added. Let's go ahead to the pages, visit the site, click on About Us, and oh gosh, it's not viewing. We do have About Us, board of directors, but what about the bios? Well, that's because we need to go over here to Appearance, Menus, And we'll see that we have here in our selector of our menus, we have the main menu, and that's that bigger one. It's the one that if we go to the home page, let's bring, okay, this here is our main menu. And on every page, you'll see this main menu. This main menu allows us to work with that. I change back to About Us, select it. We now look at only the submenu areas that we were talking about. Now, when I had the BIOS that I wanted to add, I would have to add it here so that we have it as part of the menu. So you go to Pages, and we look for BIOS. There you go. Add it to the menu. Okay, I'm going to save the menu. I'm going to go back to About Us. And there's our BIOS. Okay, we say, well, BIOS should really be underneath the Board of Directors, shouldn't it? Okay, well, let's go back to the menu, BIOS, and drag it up. And the reason why I don't put it in a little bit, and because this is a child, although BIOS is a child of Board of Directors, I don't want to, have a staggered in look. If I did that, like this, okay, actually, if I moved board, this is the correct parent-child relationship. If I did that, I don't like the way it would stagger here. It would look kind of weird. Okay, so I simply do this. Refresh. There you go. Okay, so our menus is now taken care of. Let's go back to widgets. When we go to the custom menu, you'll see again, we have the widget logic, we have the IDs in here, and now only on the About Us pages will this show. Okay? Now I could go to another page, let's say Events, and it won't show that. You will see the search, but you won't see that little submenu. The reason is, search, when I open it up, has no, close this up so we don't get confused. In the search right here, we have no widget logic. So all sidebars in pages will be showing the search because it's not limited. Okay? But for the custom menu, we said we only want on these particular pages, these IDs. Okay. Now that's true with, for example, your post right column. Close this up. Now the post right column, let's open that up. We have search, text, recent post, archives. So if I go over here, and I go back to the home, and I look at our post, our articles. Right now we only have one post. Let's go ahead and click it open. Then we'll end up on our post page. It looks a lot like our regular page, like About Us. If we look at About Us, you can't even really tell other than what's here, the content specific. If we go to Post, we have a different set of content. The design is the same, but we have different content. Let's go back over here to Widgets. And in the Post area, what we have is a search. Okay. This text is actually a go back button. This is used, I created this with HTML. Now if you know how to make items in HTML, you would put that in here using the text widget here, drag it on in, let's go ahead and close that in. It's a very powerful tool, this text. Put that in, and then you can do anything. You can do anything with this. And I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go here to Hello World, Post. You can do anything with this right here. And if you said, hey, that's kind of cool. Wish it was in bold though. Well, let's make it in bold. That's HTML. You save. Go back over to this post page, refresh, and it is in bold. However, this particular item we really don't need there. Now we can just simply delete it. That would be easy. Or we might say, you know what, I liked this particular item that I created. I might use it later. So you just close that up. and put it in the inactive widgets. That way, later on, should you want to use it again, just put it back in there, drag it back in. You don't have to recreate the wheel. Okay, let's go back here, refresh, and it should go away. So it's gone. Then we have recent posts and archives. Okay, recent post right here, limited to the last 5, and then you have your archives. So that's how you work with the post call sidebar. And then, as I mentioned earlier on, there are sidebars for virtually every other part of the website. The footer, A, B, C, D. If we go over here, go to main page. In fact, on all pages and all posts, we will have the footer if we're using a footer. And below that is actually even below the footer. Those are your hot links that are some websites. So here we have our footer items. We also have a below footer, and those hot links were created with the special text widget. And within using HTML, we're able to create these hot links. And you have a div tag, and the paragraph tag, then you have your active link, which is right here. This is what makes a link, the ahref. Then you have the location of the link, and then the page. Okay. Then it says contact us, and then this A closes up this active command. But that's HTML. If you don't know HTML, well, you don't want to fuss with this. Go ahead and close that. Okay. Beside the masthead right here, this is, we go back to the home page. Up here on the right, this is beside the masthead content. We may or may not be using that. It could be a picture, or it could be something else. But for right now, it's just a little bit of text as a placeholder. And, excuse me, go back here to widgets. And that would be behind the masthead, beside the masthead content right here. Okay. Well, just to recap, when you want to work with a sidebars are not only here on the side, but there are different spots within your website. That would be about us. That would be here on the right, down here at the bottom, here on top, back home. When you want to populate these little areas with specific content or interactive gizmos, you do it through your widgets. Your widgets are here. You get your widgets through the plugins that you have loaded up into your WordPress environment. And then once you have your widgets, you drag the widget over to a specific area, like calendar into main sidebar, a custom menu into a main sidebar, categories into a post here, so on and so forth. It's that easy. So thank you for listening in, and we hope to see you in our next tutorial. Bye-bye.